They call me a titan, a legend. When I walk into a room, the air changes. Men straighten their ties. Women check their makeup. They smell the money. But they don't smell the rot. In accounting, there are two columns, debit and credit, profit and loss. But I keep a third book inside my head, a secret book. It is called The Cost of Doing Business. And the ink in that book isn't black. It isn't red. It is blood. Do you know the specific weight of a human soul? Scientists say it is 21 grams. I disagree. In 1995, I weighed my best friend's soul against a merger deal with a Japanese conglomerate. The deal was worth $400 million. Thomas's soul was just a feather on the scale. I blew it away, without blinking. People ask me how I sleep at night. In this $12 million mansion, I don't sleep. I lay awake, counting the ghosts in the ceiling. And the loudest ghost is Thomas. Let's go back, way back. Before the suits, before the private jets. Let me tell you about the winter of 1978. Thomas and I were living in a basement apartment in Brooklyn. The rent was $200, and we couldn't even afford that. We were working on our first software prototype. I remember one night clearly. It was Christmas Eve. We had no heat. We had no gifts. We just had one single packet of instant noodles and to share between two grown men. I was crying. Yes, Arthur the Titan was crying. I threw my keyboard against the wall and shouted, "I quit. We are failures, Thomas. Look at us. We are eating garbage." Thomas didn't get angry. He picked up the keyboard. He fixed the keys, gently. Then he split the noodles into two bowls. He gave me the bigger half. He looked me in the eye with that stupid, hopeful smile of his and said, "Eat up, Artie. This is fuel. One day, we are going to eat steak in Paris. But tonight, we feast on this." He believed in me when I hated myself. That is what a true brother is. A brother isn't the guy who buys you a drink when you win. A brother is the guy who splits his last noodle with you when you lose. I owed him my life, and you won't believe how I repaid him. Success is a slow poison. It doesn't kill you instantly, it changes your DNA. By 1990, we were rich. Not wealthy yet, but rich. And that is when the infection started. I started attending galas. I started listening to consultants who used words like optimization and headcount reduction. Thomas refused to change. He still wore his old denim jacket. He still spent hours talking to the janitor about his arthritis, and I started to resent him. I remember a meeting with the bankers, serious men in serious suits. They were proposing an aggressive expansion. Thomas interrupted them. He said, "But if we do this, we have to fire 50 people from the warehouse. These are people with families, Artie." The room went silent. The bankers looked at Thomas like he was a naive child, and I looked at him and felt ashamed. I didn't see his compassion anymore. I saw weakness. The voice in my head whispered, "He is small, Arthur. You are big. He is an anchor. You are a rocket." That night, I didn't go home. I sat in my office drinking scotch, staring at the city lights, and I decided to cut the anchor. I decided to kill the brother, to save the business, the day it happened. I didn't even have the courage to tell him over lunch. I called him into the boardroom. I had 3 lawyers with me, like a firing squad. Thomas walked in smiling. He was holding 2 coffees. He said, "Morning, Artie. I got you the hazelnut roast you like." I didn't take the coffee. I slid a black folder across the table. Clause 14b. Involuntary buyout, due to strategic misalignment. Fancy words for get out. Thomas read it. He put the coffee down. Slowly. He didn't scream. He didn't flip the table. He just looked at me. His eyes. God, his eyes. They weren't angry. They were disappointed, he whispered. Artie, we split a noodle packet, remember? We promised. I looked away. I looked at my expensive watch and said, the board has voted, Thomas. Take the check. It is generous. Generous. He stood up. He took the picture of us from the garage. Off the wall. That was the only thing he took. He walked to the door, paused, and said the words that still haunt me. You kept the company, Arthur. But you sold the only person who would have visited you in the hospital. For free. Then he closed the door. And the silence that followed was louder than any scream Thomas never recovered. His heart was broken, and his body followed. He died 3 years ago in a small rented apartment. No millions, no legacy. I went to his funeral, hiding under a black umbrella. It was pouring rain, cold, miserable rain. And yet, the cemetery was full. Real people. I saw the janitor sobbing over the grave. Neighbors, kids he coached, they were sharing stories. They didn't care about his net worth. They cared about his human worth. Then I got back into my heated limousine. The leather was warm, the champagne was cold, and I felt absolutely freezing. Thomas had died a king, surrounded by his subjects of love, and I was just a ghost, haunting my own bank account. So here I am, 86 years old. I checked my phone this morning. 5,000 contacts, senators, bankers, tech moguls. But if I had a heart attack right now, none of them would bring flowers. They would send their lawyers to see if my stock price drops. They are waiting for me to die, like vultures circling a carcass. I traded a brother for a bottom line. I traded loyalty for leverage. I look at this empty chair across from me. Sometimes, late at night, I imagine Thomas sitting there, eating noodles, smiling. But it is just a hallucination. I won the game of capitalism, my friends. I own the board, I own the pieces, I own the bank. But I am the only player left sitting at the table. Don't be Arthur. Go find your Thomas and split the noodles before it is too late.